Opening credits. Ava and Carol Detective Agency. The Mystery of Solomon's Ring. Chapter 5. Extinguished.
"That's Nose Guy,"
yelled Ava, suddenly realizing whose face she had just slammed the door into.
"Who?"
yelled Carol as they raced down the alley. The faces of curious shop owners and tourists were a blur as they passed by.
"The guy last night with the hurt nose. Nose Guy." "Oh!"
Carol's eyes flicked to her peripheral. Behind them, she could see the foreboding shadow of the tall man racing like a stick figure behind them, a strange whistling sound coming from him.
"He's gaining on us!"
Ava quickly stole a glance over her shoulder. She was surprised sparks weren't flying from his Italian loafers as he chased them down. The man was clearly gaining on them with each stride, his nose whistling like a squeaky toy with each breath.
"Hang in there. We're almost to the hotel,"
puffed Ava, recognizing the start of the Piazza Ognissanti. Just beyond them was the Arno River, and she could see the back of the St. Regis from where they were. They were so close.
"We're going to make it,"
she breathed out sharply. They turned the corner to the front entrance of the St. Regis, bolting as nimbly as they could after making a hairpin turn. The doors swooshed open. Ava and Carol jumped inside just in time to see Nose Guy attempt to put on the brakes, only to be betrayed by his Italian loafers. He floundered, his arms waving wildly as he skated right past the doorway, sliding another 6 feet before coming to an awkward stop. Had they not been that close to being caught by legit kidnappers, Ava would have thrust a huge white card in the air with 9 out of 10 on it for the man's near-perfect execution of the Italian slide. Whoosh! The girls gracelessly ran-walked to the elevators, trying to get as far as they could away from the man without causing a disturbance. They need not have worried. Visitors lined the check-in area. The 2 bellhops were busy struggling across the lobby with 2 massive luggage carts overfilled with expensive luggage, followed by an impeccably dressed man and woman who were mercilessly berating the bellhops. The girls reached the elevator, and Ava hit the open button about 1,000,000 times. Carol looked nervously behind them. Thankfully, with a ding, the door slid open, and the 2 practically jumped in. Carol hit the 9th floor button just as the evil, loafer-wearing villain walked through the hotel doors. He immediately spotted the girls.
Ava?"
said Carol. "On it." Ava punched the door close button over and over again as the man speed-walked toward the elevator. He reached out with his good hand, and Ava realized with dread that they were about to be caught.
"Ava!"
cried Carol, voice strained with panic.
"Either the 9th floor button isn't working, or this door won't close."
Ava looked around frantically and saw the fire extinguisher on the wall. Without a second thought, she yanked it from where it was attached and pointed the nozzle toward the kidnapper. His eyes went crossed as he stared down the hose of the extinguisher. She couldn't believe it. He didn't stop.
"You have no idea what you are doing,"
he shouted, less than 2 yards away, teeth bared. "I do," she replied, and winced. "I'm getting grounded for a month." Her thumb pressed down, and the nozzle went off, spraying puffy white extinguisher spray all over his face just as he was about to reach them. Ava shouted, "Here!" and chucked the fire extinguisher at the man, who shockingly caught it against his chest. The doors closed, and Ava fell back against the rear wall of the elevator, releasing a blast of air from her lungs as the elevator shot upward. Carol stared at Ava, and for a good 5 seconds, neither of them said a word.
"Nice shot,"
smiled Carol finally.
"He has officially been extinguished."
Nice one, laughed Ava.
"So why did you hit the 9th floor? We're on the 5th floor." "Because," said Carol, jabbing the 5 button, stopping the elevator as they approached the 5th floor. The elevator dinged again, and the door slid open, absurdly sooner than it did in the lobby. "I wanted him to enjoy his 9 flights of steps. He'll think we're on the 9th floor. Come on."
The girls sprinted down the hallway to their room, skidding to a stop in front of their door. Ava fumbled for her key card, then she paused.
"Ava,"
said Carol exasperatedly.
"What are you doing? He could be here any second."
"My mom might be in there," she replied pointedly. "Unless you want to explain why we're breathing like a pack of rabid lions were chasing us, we have to fix ourselves up. Aren't you the one who usually reminds us?"
"Yeah, okay."
Taking a quick second to calm their breathing and fix their clothes, just in case Ava's mom was already back from the morning meetings, they exhaled together, grinned, and opened the door.
"Oh, and by the way, lions are scary enough without them having to be rabid."
"Point taken," acknowledged Ava.
"Now move. You're blocking my lighting. Mom, you here?"
Ava paused, listening. No answer. They pushed the door open wider and walked in. No sign of her at all.
"Ah,"
breathed Ava. "That's kind of a relief. I know we'll see her later, and I've had my fill of adults for the moment."
"Fair enough."
Carol turned and locked their door. Ava shed her jacket and launched herself onto their bed, bouncing on the springs.
"Ugh, Italy is exhausting."
Carol turned and looked at the back of Ava's head buried among the pillows. She remembered that when they were little, and whenever they'd watch a movie with a scary or super awkward part, Ava would bury her head between couch pillows like an ostrich who was afraid.
"Hey, you all right?"
"We were just chased from a wrecked bookstore by a creepy Italian villain right after we stood up against another creepy Italian villain," she said, voice muffled by pillows. "I'm fine. I do my best thinking this way. The less oxygen to the brain, the better."
"Yeah,"
sighed Carol.
"It's also your best angle."
Ava peeked up from her pillow and grinned. "Thank you for the compliment. I bet it's moments like these that you wish you could soothe yourself by playing your bassoon."
"It's true, if nothing more than to annoy you,"
smiled Carol as she wiggled her eyebrows. "I just feel sorry for Signora Coppola. It's bad enough that they destroyed her bookstore, and then to have the nerve to walk in like they own the place."
"I like her. She's got sass. She deserved a lot better than that."
Carol scoffed. "And the old man? The ring? Luca? That weird symbol?" continued Ava. "Nothing seems to fit together."
"Oh, I was just asking Signora Coppola if she knew Luca, but that's when Rossi ruined things."
"Yeah, it's crazy," said Ava, pushing herself up from the blankets. "Did you see Rossi's face when he saw the ring?" Carol shook her head.
"I was too busy de-pantsing him."
"That was epic," said Ava, a smile growing on her face. "Absolutely brilliant. I wish you'd seen his boxers." Carol laughed.
"I more wished I'd seen the look on his face when it happened."
"Sheer, obliterated freaking outness," stated Ava. If anyone back at school had known what Carol had done, she'd be a legend.
"Honestly, I'm just glad he was wearing boxers,"
laughed Carol. "Yeah, me too."
"Can I see the ring?"
asked Carol, plopping on the bed in front of Ava and crossing her legs into a pretzel. She settled her hands in her lap, waiting. Ava scrambled off the bed to snag her jacket off the floor, then jumped back on the bed. As she sat up, the envelope slipped out of her jacket pocket a second time, falling onto the comforter. When Carol gave her a look, Ava sighed, exasperated. Okay, so my jacket pocket is obviously not the ideal place to keep this thing. From here on out, you are the official ring bearer.
Excuse me, why do you think I'm capable of holding onto this crazy super secret thing?
Carol replied. Because I'm sure as heck not, and I trust you more than myself.
The Sherlock and Watson duo strikes again,
muttered Carol, casting a sidelong glance. Their eyes met, and they burst into giggles. Okay, Ava said, though it felt good to laugh after the whole ordeal. We're a no-nonsense pair right now. She opened the envelope and handed Carol the ring.
It is definitely half a ring. It looks like it's bronze,
said Carol, turning it over in her fingers. Her eyes squinted, and she scooted over to hold it under the bedside lamp. The light glinted off the metal, catching Ava's eye.
But check it out. This is kind of weird. It has a very peculiar pattern on its face. It sort of looks like a
pentagon, offered Ava.
No,
said Carol slowly.
A pentagon has 5 sides. That wasn't quite it.
She searched her mind to come up with the right word, and when she found it, she almost wished she hadn't.
A hexagram.
A hexagram? Asked Ava, as chills raced up her spine, making the tiny hairs at the back of her neck stand up in attention.
Big brain, isn't the hexagram the...
She gulped. Devil's symbol? That can't be it. Was Carol's only response as she twisted the ring under the desk lamp. Oh, man, Ava groaned. No way. Please tell me that we don't have a cursed ring. If I start saying, my precious, or become extremely fond of burlap cloaks and bad hair, Carol, are we going to have to hunt down a pit of lava to destroy this thing? I didn't even watch all of the Lord of the Rings movies. We don't even know how this thing ends. Ava continued to rant about the bathtub being the safest place during tornadoes and the apocalypse was supposed to happen ages ago, until Carol, rolling her eyes, got up and plucked a grape from the tray on the desk. Without wasting another moment, she threw it at Ava with perfect aim, thwacking her in the head. Hey! Ava narrowed her eyes. You heard my mom earlier. No food fights in the hotel room.
Ava, quit it, she said. Think for a second. Why would they kidnap an old man? Why would bad guys be so desperate to get whatever he had?
He had the ring, said Ava matter-of-factly, looking at her friend. The old man had the ring, and he hid it. They were obviously after the ring. Carol nodded.
I bet my Klaus Thunemann t-shirt we're supposed to find Luca, and he'll know what to do with the ring and how to help the old man.
I'm not going to even ask, because I feel like the truth is sadder than anything I could ever imagine. However, I would like to remind you that bassoon rhymes with buffoon.
He is a world-famous bassoonist,
sniffed Carol as she crossed her arms. I rest my case, said Ava, ducking as Carol whipped another grape at her.
If you're enjoying Thomas Lockhaven's audiobook content, please like and subscribe. It's the best way to help out the channel.